All right, awesome. So this looks like it's working fairly well. I want to see if I can get something that is pretty processor intensive and just want to get a better idea, or at least a better view of how it'll end up affecting the sharing here. All right, so I'm just going to bring up a star mask really quick, because that usually causes my CPU to spike. And you guys will see just the first few steps that I take as I do the dust enhancement here on Sergio's data. So just to give you guys a quick overview, because I don't want to use this time to go over this, but this is basically the first step that I do. So I increase the noise threshold all the way up to 0.5, so that way we just eliminate any chances of capturing that small scale data. Bump the scale here to 7 or 8. 8 will typically capture all the largest stars in the image. Sorry, we leave large scale at 2, drop small scale to 0, because the whole point is we want to eliminate all of the small scale data. We can leave the compensation set to 2. The smoothest factor within the star mask, we all understand that that's just the smoothest that controls the specific mask. The greater the smoothness, the worse it becomes, the less the better. Or the harder, sorry, is the opposite direction. We just set it to binarize. Now what binarize allows me to do is it just creates a very white mask, very hard. And the only thing that controls how white it is, or how strong or how effective the mask is going to be, is we just end up relying on that smoothness factor. So I tend to aim between 10 to 12. Of course, it's going to be based on uh, your image itself, so just use your own determination. Now here what I do is I like to bump these up quite a bit. So what this does is, as we all know, just brings up when we start clipping the data, so any of the smaller data that is found in the image, so if there are any large-scale nebulous structures or any small-scale stars that are left, they'll be immediately clipped out. So let's see, this is pretty intensive. This should take a little while. All right, can you guys see it's still generating the star mask? Is there any choppiness? Is it still showing fairly smoothly for you guys? Can you hear me okay? Okay, good, good. Oh, John, to answer, I binarize with everything. Mine just. Can you guys still see my screen, or did I lose you? I think it just crashed. Okay, so you guys can hear me, but no pivot. Oh, I just heard someone else speak. Okay, so some people. Okay, so it looks like it's coming back slowly for everybody. Hmm. Adam has said. So Ivor says he has sound but no video. Adam says he can hear me. Serge has got the screen share with the star mask. Interesting. Sean's got everything back. Yeah, if these don't end up working out as well. All right, so Bert says he's got both video and audio. All right. So I'm wondering if we can just start, because there are options to limit the amount of band. See, I don't know if I really want to do that. Because I know we... Mosquitoes, sorry. Gotta love Minnesota. Let's see, I think I can limit. All right. So I'm going to try something else here, guys. Let's see if this should absolutely wreck. So we'll do another process-intensive test here. Actually, this one shouldn't be too bad. All right. All right, if at any point it starts getting choppy, let me go, guy. Let me know. So just run a quick dilation here on this mask. All right, so everything is... Yeah, I'm running a morphological transform on the star mask. Now what that allows me to do is the operator is set to dilation. So what it does, it takes the original mask and it dilates the stars a little bit further, so you can... That is hilarious, Bert. You just sent me 1,000,000 ones into the chat window. I think everybody saw that. Frickin' cats. Yeah, so what I do is you set the dilation here on the star mask, and the main purpose of that is that you further blow up the star, so you just expand your region a little bit further. It gives you a little bit more control. Now what I tend to do is, on the next step, is I end up combining the first two masks here together, just using simple mask, using a simple summing of the two, and it gives me a nice little smooth mask, and you can control it fairly well. Let me show you guys here. Do pixel math. I really want to get to, the reason why I'm just going through this really fast and not giving you guys a proper tutorial on it is that I really want to hit a processor-intensive system, a process here. So that looks pretty good. It's a little rough. I'm flying through this. The star mask actually really sucks, but sorry if you guys are typing. I'm not seeing it right now. I'm just focusing on this window for the time being. Okay, that looks way better. Let's use those. Those are the settings I had loaded before. So. So far so good. Everything looks good. Okay. So you guys can see the resulting window in here. So you can see how the stars are nice and smoothed out after the convolution against them. So when I apply this to the larger, now I'm absolutely planning on that the MMT process will destroy. Let's create a clone of this. Whoops. There we go. All right. How about now? Can you guys hear me? All right. It looks like it's about to crash again. Yeah, it looks like it's about to take a nosedive. Once it hits 99, that's usually where it really craps out. I'm on my laptop. I'm not on my desktop PC. Excuse me. Yeah, you start spiking. The script starts failing here in Firefox. It looks like it's just the chat script that keeps failing on me. All right, are we good? Oh, there's a bit of a delay. 99. Yeah, it's already finished on my side, so you guys are just getting the buffered video stream. And looks like it just came back. All right, so it looks like we're going to have some serious fun with that. That really sucks, because some of these are the most important bits of all of this. That is really interesting. He won't accept his mask. Oh, I wonder if... I think I know what's causing that now. Alright, that's what I had missed. Okay, there we go, finally. Okay, so the delay wasn't that long. And to answer your question, John, so did I create the star mask from the RGB or the LUM same bit depth? I used it from the extracted luminance. So you guys can see this here with the mask. So basically what you're doing is you're trying to target the brightest stars, or the largest stars in the image. Okay, I don't need that anymore. So what we want to do is just fade them out into the background. Now the easiest way to do that is just using a morphological transformation, but this time what we do is we use a different operator. So the operator that we use in this case is going to be a morphological selection. And what I like about the morphological selection is that I tend to use it in all of my images, especially images that are highly, I was going to say oversampled, but undersampled, such as the short focal length systems like my TAC, and especially when I use my reducer, we're looking at 3.5 to 5 arc seconds per pixel of resolution, which is absolute shite if you're going for detail. So you get a lot of square stars. So the great thing about, so if you use the standard morphological transformation, what it ends up doing is it shrinks the stars so small that you end up getting some really, really odd artifacting all over the image. Now if you take a look at, what's his name, Rogelio Bernardo and Andrea RBA's images, as well as John Davis, they both do a lot of the wide field images in 10 plus frames. You will notice that they're free from these artifacts. And I learned this trick from RBA. I speak to him from time to time online and learned a lot from that guy. I don't know how he figured most of this stuff out, but you use a morphological transformation, and it uses a two-step process, I guess you could say. So you could adjust here the selection, and what the selection does is it uses an erosion as well as a dilation mechanism. So you have greater control over your stars. So what it'll do is it really erodes the stars, but then it dilates them ever so slightly. So it helps eliminate some of those artifacts, and it takes away that squareness that you'll see in the images, right, because of the undersampling. So when we drop the selection here down to 0.2, we're getting a 20% worth of, so it's 80% erosion with a 20% dilation, and that's what I typically aim for. Now you'll see me here playing with the numbers down here, and well, these are the size of the stars in your image, right? And of course, this is a circular kernel. You don't want a square kernel because you don't want to reduce the star to look like a square or a diamond or any other odd shape. You want to retain the natural look of the image. So here in this, then I set the iterations to 5, leave the amount here at 1, interlace and set to 1. And just go ahead and apply that. I don't know if this is going to hurt the video. So John asked the question here, so where does the 80% come from? Well, it's based on the selection here. So the selection is just going to determine, that's 20%, 20% dilation versus 80% erosion is what it ends up doing. So that's how it works out. And you can see here that all the larger stars, and right in the core of the iris, all the larger stars have been dimmed down. So if I go back, let's undo it, and then redo it. So you can see how much it dimmed out. but it didn't have a negative impact on the image. It's just a nice dimming effect of the larger structure, the larger structures in the image. So that was a good reduction. So let's zoom in a little bit here. And so you can see the star here. So it didn't leave any nasty little artifacts and dimmed it quite nicely. Now, time for the fun. So this is the part that I've been wanting to get to, so let's see if this destroys. Alright, so I usually pick about 5, and this is where it gets ugly. So this should kill the video stream. Alright, so in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, John, if you could still hear me, yeah, it'll shift just between the two. So it just performs the erosion and then it dilates the image. Alright, still good. Oh, well look at that. Holy crap. I was expecting that MMT would absolutely destroy it. But I guess because we're working with such a smaller image. Sergio, what were the specs on this one? If you don't mind typing it into the chat window. Because on my 16 meg files coming out of that 16803 chip, it just kills my laptop. Alright, so what you guys can see here is, actually I should rename that to LS1. Well, that's really interesting. Okay, well that's cool. That's good. Good, good, good. Yeah, okay. That explains it. All right, so I guess we can just, this is a bit of a tease. This is just the step where I start extracting all the dust and showing you guys how to do all that stuff. But why don't we, I guess we should just move on to the agenda at this point, because I think we've done enough testing to determine that there are certain processes, and it's going to also be fully dependent upon the individual's computer that they're using. This is an Intel i7 quad-core system with 8 gigs of RAM, so we did experience some choppiness. Yes, the pick is now blurred. That is a factor of removing all 5 of the 6 scales. We've only left the residual layer here, the brightness. And so if you guys want, I can show you the tricks really quick. So this is basically all I do to enhance the dust. So can you guys see that dust, all the large-scale structure now making its way to the surface? Because if you'll notice, I haven't clipped any pixels. Of course, I'm not touching the highlights, so we should expect that not to get clipped. But you can see here that the shadows are not being clipped, but you can see a lot of the structure coming in. Now, one of the things that you want to do as you build this out, you notice that the central core here, the main core of the iris nebula, is now is getting too bright. So we're going to lose a lot of that detail. So we're getting into that extremely high dynamic ranges that we don't seem to love very much. So you would create a mask here initially. And what I do is I create a range mask, protect this area, and then I start enhancing all the dust around it. And then, of course, you could take it into curves and do a local histogram equalization against it, and then you can create additional masks and start using your wavelet layers to sharpen up the image and stuff like that. But that's basically all I do. So there's the before, after, and you can see how much of an effect that has on the image. Yeah, the finer scale structure, John, is missing from the image, because if you remember, what we had done was that we ended up removing the first 5 layers. And by removing those first 5 layers, we're focusing our efforts just on that large scale structure. So what I'll show you here, I guess since we're just playing around, so what do you guys think? So I'm going to ask you guys a question. How would I get the small scale structure back? What do you think I would do next? How would you go about getting it back so we can recombine this image to get the original image back together, but with the enhancements that we've made? So while I do this, you guys can... Switch back over here. Deconvolution. No idea. It's all magic. Yeah, pretty much. Deconvolution, no. Bring back the layers. I was wondering how to lift up the dimmest background details. This technique is great. Yeah, it's a pretty cool little technique. I originally learned the first few little bits from Rogelio, and from there I just started adding my own stuff to it. You know, it's kind of funny because you think that you're coming up with this new groundbreaking technique only to find out someone has done it before you and has only made it way better. So, yeah, completely. Oh, sorry, Minnesota official bird is now out. It's late. Yeah, Rogelio is awesome. He's a really, really nice guy. Um, so to bring back this, the small scale structure, you guys are going to laugh when you see this. So as I was playing with this the one day, so pixel math is unbelievably powerful, as most of you will know. So here's our original image, and here's the large scale image. Let's put this down here. Now, in order for me to get the small scale image so we can recombine it and grab it, now let's go back 2 steps here. So that was the original. Now, if I want the small scale stuff, all I have to do is LOM underscore 0, subtract the large scale image. And you'll see what will happen. And here it is. There's the small scale image right here. So you can see all this, the fine detail. So we'll zoom in. And now you can see the small detail within the iris. And that's all it takes to bring it back. It's pretty simple when you see it that way. Yeah, he's I wouldn't worry about feeling stupid in front of Rogelio. He's super nice, super patient, willing to teach. He's actually a pretty funny guy. Really nice man, really nice guy. Not like some of the other guys I've had the pleasure of talking to, but he's really good. So there you go. You have your small scale structure. And let's bring this back. Let's do this, this. Now, we've done some light enhancements. There hasn't been a whole lot. If I do a local histogram equalization, I think, no, that one isn't too bad. Actually, this one might be. So you can see the difference that it makes. If I apply this, it will absolutely crash the computer, without a doubt. So just adding them back together, SS1 plus LS1. And there you go. There's the new window with the slight enhancements. So can you? Yeah, and of course you could take it much further. Like if we were to do a local histogram equalization against this, you will see how much better it gets. That's where the real magic happens here, is in this window. Apply this to the large scale structure before you come in. And of course you want to add the masks to this area because it's kind of gross. So there's a before, should be an after any second now, after. So it makes a huge difference. But so I'm wondering, this was such a craptastic way of doing this tutorial and playing with it. Should we go ahead and discuss a proper agenda? Because I would like to redo this tutorial at a later time when it's when we have all the technical bugs sorted out for sure. Because I would like to make it more interactive rather than having me go back and forth checking the chat window and then going back to the video window. It's kind of a pain, but I know we should be able to do it. All right, so let's go ahead and unmute everybody. Absolutely, Adam, I agree.
My mute is off. Can you hear me?
I
This
can.
is Ivor.
Yep, Ivor, I can hear you.
Yay.
All right, let's see. Show and broadcast. Sergio.
All right, I'm back.
All right. So I can hear people coming back now. So let's go back to my screen share. I'll disable it. Yeah, you guys will be barely able to see me. I'll be right back.
I just noticed that you can click the icons on the bottom and you can see their video. So I'm looking at Adam right now, I think. In your kitchen? I can see him, but I can't hear him.
Okay.
1 minute.
All right. Bert is still muted out. Why is Bert still muted? Oh, here, let me unmute you, Bert. Sorry, that's up to me now. Let me see. Okay, video back for Bert. Chris, video. I can hear everybody coming in now.
I think you can hear me again, right?
Yes, I can.
All right.
I see Serge.
Yep, I'm here.
I'm
see
gonna
Sean.
step into my house here.
Those mosquitoes need blood. Come on.
No, those mosquitoes can go to hell. State bird over here.
What have you done now that it's not toggling between the speakers as it was before? Before it was toggling to whoever was talking. Now it's just staying on you, Hytham.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Seems to be that's exactly how we want it to work, but
Yeah.
who knows why?
Hopefully, let's figure that out.
You know what, Hytham, you're hovered over. Maybe I don't know if you're controlling the conversation, but maybe now whoever you hover over, the screen will be locked on them.
Okay. I have it hovered over you, Adam.
You have it hovered over me?
Yep.
And you're seeing me. Okay, well, let's see, because I'm seeing you. I jumped over to Ivor. Now I'm seeing Ivor. Okay.
But I still see Hytham.
Because each one of us is in control of who we see, and we can force ourselves to see whoever we want.
Okay, yeah, because if I click onto anybody else, then that's who I'm seeing.
Yeah, and it doesn't switch between. So it's up to the viewer to click the person they want to watch. So if someone's screencasting, we have to click them for the screencast. And I'm guessing in that event, then we can all probably chat verbally. So.
Yeah, you guys definitely have to click on the user.
Gotcha.
And that works.
Yep, I'm clicking on Sean right now, and I can see him. I can see someone in the background hiding over his shoulder.
Bert's still,
Hi.
Bert's still muted. Looks like Josh may still be muted.
Josh is muted. Christopher's muted. Bert's muted.
Yeah, I can't unmute.
Here, I'll unmute. I got. Okay, so
I know where it is. I know where it is. I got it. Bert should be unmuted.
Unless if Bert has himself unmuted, so Christopher is no longer.
Josh is back. I see him.
And Christopher went to mute again. Same
Yeah, it's lagging, so every time I click it, it goes away and comes back. Let's see, hold on. Bert, I'm trying to get you unmuted. Christopher, I'm working on. Sorry, Christopher's unmuted. Sean got muted. When I click Sean's name, Christopher gets muted. Sean comes back.
So we're both doing this at the same time.
Okay, my hands are up in the air. Go ahead.
All right. The blind leading the blind here at this point. All right, so I've clicked on Bert's name. I'm not going to touch him again.
Yeah, he still appears muted to me.
And then I also clicked on Christopher. So Christopher
appears unmuted to me.
Hey, Christopher, say something. Can you hear? Let's see if we can hear him.
Yeah, I do, but I have some background noise here.
Okay, good. But Bert, did you mute yours by any chance? I think Bert has his microphone muted on his side.
That's exactly what it is, because Christopher just muted his microphone, I think.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's why they were flipping on and off. We were unmuting them. They didn't want to be unmuted, I guess.
Can I just kind of hold a picture of someone good-looking up here instead of my ugly mug?
John's picture's the best looking here.
Oh, hi.
Okay.
Okay. Now, let me think. Is there any... I have 7 new chat messages. I just want to see and make sure that nobody's out there. Okay, Bert's asking how you unmute locally, which would be at the top of the screen.
You have to hover your mouse up at the top.
Christopher can't hear. Is that what you're saying, Christopher? I thought you... No, you can hear, right? No, John can't hear. Can't hear John.
Yeah, I think he said he's having problems with his microphone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he did mention.
If you have to, just type it out. I can keep the chat window open. Okay, we could probably jump more right into the agenda. We've got a lot of it done. One of the things that I thought would be convenient would be in advance the speaker can post whatever data they have on a Dropbox link. We can put that Dropbox link right below. Then anyone can download the data and kind of do a walk along. That will fix the lag issue. Given that PixInsight has pretty much numerical stuff, we can kind of communicate it in that way. If we are lagging and we can't really tell what's going on the screen, we can do somewhat of a follow-along. That seemed like a good idea to me. In general, keeping it an open forum in that anybody can ask questions. Now, earlier I was thinking that based on the difficulty we had flipping between screens, we might have to have just the host unmuted. But in this case, we can probably just let everyone be unmuted and let the host kind of go on as they did. It seemed to, once we got back, actually at this point, seems like it would work pretty well now that we know how this works out.
The only issue with that is that whenever there's background noises for people who are unmuted, the screen continues to flip back and forth.
I think we can choose which screen we want to lock it on.
So there can be audio without the video switching.
Yes.
That would be perfect.
But it's up to each individual to pick the screen they want. So, for example, for me, I'm highlighted on Josh right now. I can switch over and look at Hytham, and that'll keep their screen open for me. So in the event where they're the host, you keep their screen open. If someone has a question, you want to flip over and look at their face while they're asking the question. Or if they want to, we can probably even give them permission to show their screen if they had a question of something that was going on their screen. Hytham took my computer over, so that goes to show you that could work. We all made it here. I had some concerns about us figuring out the Google terminology and all of that. That seems to kind of sort itself out. Did anyone hear from the people that were stuck in the other, what was it, the
Q&A.
Q&A?
Yeah. I was over there at first and had to download and install the Google, whatever it's called,
Yeah,
And after I did that, then things worked fine.
I got you. I tried installing it at work, and it wouldn't install on my work computer. In Firefox, it worked in Chrome. So we can tell people that the way to get around it if they're not able to get into it, they could try a different browser. Probably Chrome would be the best, considering Google.
Definitely go with Chrome. If we're going to use any Google services, just use Chrome and be done with it.
Yeah.
Rather than troubleshooting through all the issues of IE or Firefox, just go with the best integration tool possible.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm on
Adam.
Firefox and it works fine.
Yeah, I'm in Firefox as well, but I think just for these to avoid any future headaches or any potential headaches, just moving forward, we should all standardize on Chrome for use.
That wouldn't bother me. It didn't work. Firefox has been wonky for me in the past 6 months. So.
Hey, Adam.
Yes, go ahead.
How do we lock down the video on just one of the people?
Click.
Click their face.
Look your face at the
It should
bottom.
highlight them.
So I have a question concerning that. The video that's recorded that gets uploaded to YouTube,
Yes.
how is that controlled on what screen is shown? If we all individually can choose some stream by clicking on a person's face, what does that do to the recording of this Hangout?
That's a good question. I don't think we'll know that until after.
It should be just the person that is in control of the desktop at that time. So it would be the individual that is considered the moderator of the entire session. So if you're providing control to the individual, then that individual session will be the one that will be recorded upon. I would assume that they've built the same level of intelligence as they did as Cisco has in their WebEx platform.
Right. So whoever has control
Yep.
dictates what is recorded. Okay.
Yep. John, nobody. I can't hear you, John. I had to go to my control panel, go into sounds, go to one of my microphones, and see which one. I had like 4 different microphones on there, so I was able to get in. I was able to get that working that way. Actually, that was my sound. That wasn't my microphone, but still. John's trying to work on getting his sounds in. Okay.
Still having problems with his. Hey Bert, if you're looking around in the actual video window, if you look at the top, you'll have some controls. Is the microphone highlighted red, or is it showing as white?
Bert, I'm just trying to unmute you, just manually. No, you're staying.
He's got the red mic icon. It does not. Do we still have him locked out here? I'm gonna check to see. All right, I've just clicked on Bert's name, so Bert, if you could just give it another shot, please. It was working for him in the beginning, at least I thought it was. Nothing again.
Bert, try talking now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep,
wait a
we
minute.
can hear you.
Just the mic on. It went from being redded out to coming back.
I might have done that. I think we forgot to bring you back from hide from broadcast. That's exactly what happened.
Okay.
So everyone's back. Everyone that has a mic and a video, I think, are back.
Christopher just left, I think.
Christopher did just leave, yes. All right, so I don't know if anyone else has any, just as a brainstorm session, ideas, things that we need to get out in advance. Obviously, the technical hurdles will, I think, come through experience. I'll try and spell as much out for speakers as possible, but anyone throw anything out there?
So I take it we've decided to standardize on Chrome as the browser?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm using Firefox right now, but there were a few things that I was not able to use, I don't think. Some features that I wasn't able to use because I had Firefox, so it prevented me from getting to certain areas.
Okay.
Chrome doesn't stick.
Firefox has been working fine for me, but Chrome is no problem. Hello?
Adam, are you still with us?
I think we just lost Adam.
Yeah, I think we lost Adam.
That good old Pennsylvania technology.
Hey, careful.
Firefox.
I'm in Minnesota, like it's any better.
Hytham, maybe you want to take over until Adam comes back.
Yeah, sure thing. So let's go ahead and just start developing an agenda of what people would like to see.
Hey,
So-
the one thing that I would be careful about is if we're wanting to get other people in this group is just using PixInsight. I mean, if we're going to decide if that's standardized or not, but I think it's difficult to follow what you're doing if you don't use PixInsight.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. Because one of the suggestions that I've made during the, or at least in the forums, was do it in parallel with another tool, so we can get an idea of who's coming in and they're using the general consensus of the tools that are being in use, and then see what we can do. So if there is a particular calibration or deconvolution that wants to be done, say in Star Tools, is a perfect example. We can have like Ratter. I think he uses Star Tools, right? Yes, he does. I think he uses Star Tools and he does deconvolution in that. And he also uses Pix. So he could always do a demonstration. I know that is not the most effective means of doing it. That's just one thought that I have. Probably not the best thought in the world.
I'd be content to stay standardized on PixInsight. I've got access to a number of other tools, Star Tools included, MaximDL, etc. But quite honestly, PixInsight does the bulk of my work for me now.
Yeah, it's going to be the biggest concern of the users that don't have it. Who doesn't have it?
I don't use it.
I don't use it either. I have a copy that I've been thinking about using, but I don't use it. I think that if the Hangout is to grow much, you're going to run into more and more people who don't use it. But I don't think that you want to eliminate giving tutorials in PixInsight because of that. But one thing that we might want to do in this forum, if you're giving a tutorial in PixInsight, is find a way to do similar routines in the other tools, which you can't.
Or another approach might be to try and find which application has the broadest base. That might help us.
Yeah, I think we could pick on 3 different ones. Why don't we pick, say, PixInsight, Photoshop, and Star Tools? Those seem to be the 3 most popular that are in use. And Sean, you wanted to say something, dude?
Yeah, I would suggest you actually have the same data processed in all 3, right? So maybe someone doesn't want to join the one that is Star Tools because they don't have that program. I found the PixInsight tutorial very valuable, and I thought myself I could try to replicate that in Photoshop. So
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. As you were going through the steps, I was thinking how that might be replicated in Photoshop. There's a couple of things that I don't know that can be done, but there are things that I know of that are close enough that I might be able to copy, or at least take some of that information into a new process that I'll try.
Right.
Yeah.
So for each session, we could have one piece of software that's going to be the primary, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so if people decide that they want to see that video or join that particular session, then great. And then maybe try to do another one with Photoshop and one with maybe Star Tools or something, like with the same data.
I think that's a really interesting point. One thing that I noticed, I mean, I never used PixInsight, but when Hytham was going through the routines in PixInsight, is I was like, I could do all that stuff he was doing in Photoshop or something similar to that, and it may be a good way for us to learn how to say, watch what somebody's doing and basically, you know, transfer that over to another program. I think that would be really valuable as well.
If we can get people to learn the processing techniques in the parallel program, that would be awesome. We could have two people presenting at the same time saying, okay, I could do the PixInsight routine, and then those who are more comfortable in Photoshop could always just work on it together prior to the actual demonstration or the hangout before it takes place. That could be one way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, I think either that or what Sean said was also a good idea. You know, for the week, maybe you do a presentation in PixInsight, and then somebody, like, I could copy you what you did, but do pretty much the same routine through in Photoshop. I don't think there has to be anything, you know, super strict about it. If we're really going to be doing this on a weekly basis, then we're going to need lots of different things to fill out the schedule. So maybe you do a whole presentation in PixInsight and then swap over to Photoshop the next week. Something along those lines.
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah,
That sounds good.
very reasonable.
Yeah, I'm sure if we just emailed each other, we could come up with a list of 100 topics pretty quickly. If you were to break it down to very simple items like color, noise reduction, sharpening, deconvolution, luminance, like, you know, and even starting with beginner curves and levels, things like that, you could really pretty quickly develop a huge number of items to cover.
I think something that might be helpful, aside from a focus on individual processes, might be a workflow. I myself have had to play around with how long do I keep my data linear versus do I stretch it now, stretch it later. Things like that I think might be real helpful to a wide group of people.
Absolutely.
Excuse me, did I just fart loudly?
A little awkward silence there.
So that could be a topic for one session, right? I think we should submit ideas for topics to cover in one session, and then decide if we want to stick with only using. So, like for noise reduction, I think you could kind of probably go over all three softwares in one session, right?
More than likely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But for something like Hytham's tutorial on really bringing out the faint bits, I think it's probably better to stick with one piece of software for the session so that you get a better coverage of that process.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. The other thing that if we're planning on this being like an hourly or just an hour-long thing every week, or try to keep it around an hour, is 20 minutes to half an hour worth of actual presentation and probably half an hour worth of questions and answers kind of intermixed in there. Otherwise it'll go an hour in and people will be wanting to ask questions and everyone will have to leave.
All right, guys, I'm back after a power outage.
Hey.
It's storming outside.
Welcome back.
I was listening though on my laptop to what you were saying, so for the most part I got it up. I kind of I like the we're gonna be difficult to keep it into an hour session if we're going over all this stuff, but I think it's just gonna be up to whoever's hosting to try and plan an hour session, and whatever their schedule is, keep their schedule. If they want to stay after, stay after. It is almost necessary to have at least a formal Q&A session because as you're going along, sometimes you have to say, let me answer that question at the end because I just can't think about it right now while I'm in this train of thought. And the other thing, insofar as Photoshop, PI, I like the idea of you can keep them separate and individual things. At some point, we might want to do a comparison. We're going to have beginners and intermediates and advanced people watching this. One thing that I thought might be interesting is even insofar as acquisition, and this is down the road, insofar as acquisition, I could run an acquisition session while I'm on this Google streaming, so we could show people the difference between even things like Sequence Generator Pro and Backyard EOS, because I think we're all on different levels. Some of us are DSLR guys, some of us are CCD guys. So, but that just kind of all rolls around the whole thing, content, which is what we're going to have to start providing to get it up there. And all the videos are saved on YouTube, so I think that's probably kind of where I think it should go.
Yeah, because that's what I used to do at the WebEx sessions, because a lot of my friends want to come out, but they've got family commitments. So I would set up a WebEx for them, and then just Deep Sky Stacker, and as every single sub-exposure would come through, it would stack it live for them. Just pull it right out of the folder and then do the calibration on the spot. And it was perfect. So we could definitely do something similar to that. You could even do, there was a Google Hang that was made a little while ago. They were imaging live, and someone would be doing Jupiter, another person would be doing Saturn, another one would be doing Mars, and they'd be just watching all live and then just talking about the programs they were using. It was pretty awesome. So if we could expand on that, that would be great.
Yeah, the other good thing about that is if the host happens to have clear skies, they might as well be out there.
Absolutely.
Yep.
If you get clear skies, I don't know. I don't seem to get
Clear skies? What's that?
Yeah. I mean, that's actually one of the interesting things. I mean, being that it's at 9:30, probably be set up by now, but might also be starting an imaging session or clicking on PhD guiding or whatever would happen at 9:30. I guess it's 11 now, so we'd be well into it.
I'm just wondering how we're going to manage topics. I think we could all make suggestions, but inevitably somebody's going to have to be the benevolent tyrant and decide on a topic for the week.
Just put it to a vote.
We could either put it to a vote, we could say first come, first serve. I mean, I'm fine with anything.
Well, I think we ought to settle on something because, leaving it at anything is leaving it up to chaos.
Are we talking about this coming week that we need to determine the topic for, or first of all, did we have a day or anything that we want to schedule it on? Is there a specific day that's best for people? Is Monday, Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. sound good?
I like Sunday. Personally, I work maybe sometimes until 11 p.m. Eastern during the week, so.
Sunday's fine with me.
Sunday, I like Sunday.
Part, it really doesn't matter to me.
I think Sunday's a good night.
Yeah, perfect. Sunday. 9:30. Sunday, 9:30.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
The time is good.